This is the KhoodeelaarTV television channel broadcasting on the internet under the banner of the Baby Angel Geronimo editions, Manifesto editions. This is timed at 07:30 GMT on Saturday, 4th of May 2024. A so-called lawyer employed by the post office has been exposed as another liar. A man called Jarnail Singh contradicted himself multiple times during questioning at the post office inquiry. And the extent of his lying illustrates the widespread practice of lying by the UK government department and government agencies. The lies that Jarnail Singh perpetrated were condemned as lies by both the postmistress, who was jailed while she was pregnant, and by another one postmistress whose conviction was later overturned, as well as by the lawyer for the post office inquiry, who called them a fat lot of lies. The many lies that Jarnail Singh perpetrated about not seeing or not reading or not being aware of the emails can be applied, extrapolated to the lies by the other departmental so-called professionals. So, for example, when the lies of the depraved DEFRA, were foisted on the public, many of the lies that the depraved DEFRA perpetrated, claiming that baby angel Geronimo is infected, or that baby angel Geronimo had tested positive, they were extensively and consistently rejected by Helen MacDonald, baby angel Geronimo's mom in South Gloucestershire. So it is possible that, like Jarnail Singh was saying, that he didn't see the emails containing evidence, containing proof that the prosecutions of the postmistresses were wrong. Similarly, the rejections by Helen MacDonald, based on the facts of the depraved DEFRA claims that baby angel Geronimo was infected, may have been treated by the depraved DEFRA professionals as being seen but being treated as not being seen. That is the kind of technique or tactic used by the government departments. And you could extrapolate similarly during the Grenfell Tower massacres inquiry. The Kensington and Chelsea Council as well as the department concerned about the safety of the buildings, and other departments could have been routinely receiving information, warning of the structural dangers of the Grenfell Tower. But they were treating those emails, communications, as if they didn't exist. Similarly, the various communications about the complaints and the objections by the residents of Grenfell Tower and other campaigning outlets that were actively aware and actively communicating concerns about the safety of the buildings, of the cladding, especially the danger that the cladding exposed the buildings to and the residents to, were treated as if they didn't exist. And you go to the various inquiries and the evidence about the Metropolitan Police shooting dead innocent black man, and the various internal communications sent to the police can be said to have been treated as if they didn't exist. And all the other inquiries, like the COVID-19 inquiries, reveal the communications that actually did take place and did exist, but were denied the existence of, denied the receipt of, denied the implications of. So if you move to the behavior of Croydon Council in South London, and the hundreds of millions of pounds stolen by the Labour-controlled council bureaucracy in Croydon Council, the internal communications that exposed the lies that the chief executive, the leader, and the leader's wife or partner were perpetrating to justify their stealing the money, were treated as if they didn't exist. And the so-called inquiry by the so-called independent investigator, so-called expert in local council finance, failed to actually point the finger at these systematic internal criminal lying and denials. And you take the example of the now more than 30-year-old football stadium massacre in Sheffield, and the same thing will be found. And it goes on. So the inquiries may not conclusively prove the wrongs done by the wrongdoers internally, but what they actually prove is that the wrongdoers have got a pattern of behavior of lying, hiding, covering up. As Jarnail Singh repeatedly said, Jarnail Singh said that he wasn't before the inquiry to cover up anything. But that's exactly what he was doing. That's exactly what other participants in the decision making in internal decisions in UK government agencies, UK government departments do and have been doing for decades. The evidence of Jarnail Singh, a lawyer, lying on oath and saying that he was not lying on oath, he was telling the truth on oath, contradicts the decades of lies that were perpetrated by the post office on the advice of lawyers, harassing, torturing, traumatizing the innocent postmistresses and postmasters. So this extrapolates right across the departments of the government. And billions, in the case of the COVID-19, billions of pounds of so-called public money is stolen by a handful of criminals operating while they are increasingly, desperately kind of blaming the victims of cuts, victims of denial of rights, and claiming that the victims' poverty is avoidable by the victims themselves. So we'll end this particular commentary on the baby angel Geronimo at this stage, and we briefly comment on the results of the council and mayoral elections held on the 2nd of May 2024. The mayoral election in London apparently has ended with Sadiq Khan getting the return to the post, but it's been delayed and it will be confirmed, it is hoped, expected during later today, Saturday. The other results about the council elections, the council posts and the council overall control on councils, the Conservatives have lost a lot. But essentially the commentators are not talking about the actual duties that councils fail to discharge and carry out, and there is no obligation on the councils to audit their expenditure. So if you look at the actual expenditure by other councils like Croydon Council, you can find that collectively the combined costs to the public, to society, exceed several billions a year. Councils are not audited, are not held to account, and so therefore councils operate as gangs of criminals. The gangs of criminals applies to Tower Hamlets Council, for example, when the 5 sitting councillors who demanded bribe from Santosh Nair, a license applicant, illustrates the extent to which these criminals behave openly, brazenly, criminally. And as Private Lie has pointed out, this information, this fact, has been made known to Luthurama, the so-called elected mayor, and Luthurama has ignored the complaints of his so-called aspire councillors lying and stealing and seeking bribes. Moving on to the Employment Tribunal case by group of 4 women, BBC News presenting women, including Martin Croxall, it is clear that the BBC is corrupt, the BBC bureaucracy is corrupt, the BBC decision making is corrupt, as the women are saying that the BBC rigged the system in order to stop them, to deny them promotions, deny them equal status and opportunities. It should be extended to cover the behavior of the likes of Martin Croxall. Martin Croxall joined the BBC as presenting news more than 30 years ago when she appeared as one of the presenters on the Newsroom Southeast, which is now called London News, BBC London. And Croxall knew and knowingly presented lies and suppressed the truth on hundreds and hundreds of occasions altogether when she was involved in the Newsroom Southeast as part of the production, part of the editing, part of the scripting of the items. So we shall be continuing to observe the movement in the claim in the Industrial Employment Tribunal by Martin Croxall and Anita McVie et al. This is ending at 16 minutes, just over 16 minutes, at 07:36 hours GMT on Saturday, the 4th of May 2024.